Dear love interests, we made the perfect match. You were my African prince, and I your cabbage patch. But somewhere along the lines, you said you had some itches you need to scratch. Then I met some bitches I almost had to snatch. The ways in which you've hurt me can never fully be told, but there is a silver lining in this tale of two poles. You met me in the midst of many things. Shedding skin, sprout wings, looking at life as a spiritual being through a human lens, having conversations with God about so many things. This show is your invitation. The poet God is the conversation. If you listened to episode 3, I Am Heterosexual Jazzy Not Polyamorous Annie, you know that Jaszmine had so much more to tell, and she does in this tale of two poles. I hope you're enjoying our Dear Love Interest series, and if so, please share and leave a written review so we can keep on telling these stories as we love to do. So without further ado, here's a tale of two poles.
You weigh me down. My actions will be forgiven. When we first met,
When did you get to the point of when you guys actually decided to break up? How did that all kind of unfold? How much was the family involved in that too?
I would say for me, my family was, I would say the turning point was him meeting my dad. Okay.
Ooh.
Slight backstory.
Okay.
My dad's in the military. He lives in Korea right now. He came home to visit. He met Denzel. It didn't go good.
Ooh.
So that's after the.
Why didn't it go good?
Well, for one, he didn't know my dad's name. That's one. But and I took a bit of blame because I never told him. I was like, oh yeah, that's my dad and whatever. But it just he saw right through him. That's how that goes. That's how that went.
And how did he? What did he say? How did he feel about him?
My dad didn't really like him, but my dad's also a person. He's like, I'll support whatever decision you make.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
I could literally like walk into the gates of hell, and he'll be like, "Well, if you like the heat, go on." But because there's always room for improvement too. I think that's why he's that way.
Okay.
But my dad just was not with that at the time. I mean, I had let him know kind of what had gone on.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah.
Well.
I mean, because like my dad is like my best friend.
Right. So did that color what he might have felt when he actually met him, knowing all of the backstory?
Well, I talked to him about it prior to, but I said everything's been going okay. Okay. But when I had spoken to him later about it. Okay. So he didn't factor that into there. Okay. As far as I know.
Right.
But even then, it's kind of like Denzel wasn't sure of himself either, so like my dad's like, how are you going to protect her? How are you going to... He's one of those kind of guys.
Gotcha.
How are you going to provide? How are you going to protect? How are you going to make sure that she's fine? What addition are you to her?
Right.
He's one of those.
Right. Right.
And I think, especially where he was at that time, mentally, emotionally, he wasn't there. He wasn't like ballsy enough, let's say, to be like, I ain't gonna tell you shit, or anything like that. Excuse me. I think that was a thing, but when I spoke to him afterward, we were going home, and he was just like, that didn't go good at all. I was like, okay.
Who said that? Denzel?
Denzel.
Okay.
Yeah, Denzel said it. I was like, what happened? And he was like, I just don't think it's good. And he was like, talking to me. I was like, oh, I'm not good enough for you, blah, blah, blah. That kind of talk.
Okay.
And I'm just like, if you weren't good enough for me, I promise you, we would have left a long time ago. Okay, I didn't invest too much time. You know, because you can see potential in other people that they don't see themselves.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So that's how that happened. I think that was a turning point for him, not so much for me.
Okay. Okay.
But I think a lot of just
A mental shift, emotional shift.
Yeah, mental, emotional shift on his part. Mm-hmm. I think also I'm a very fighty person. Mm-hmm. I'll fight for whatever until the wheels fall off. Mm-hmm. Not saying that he wasn't that kind of person either, but basically you can't tell me what I mean.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm like, you're not screwing my dad. You're screwing me. So
exactly.
Bump whatever he says, but there's also ways you can fix that later.
Right.
You know,
because I mean, I'm sure there's been plenty of situations where initial meetings with, you know, somebody, a dad and a, you know, boyfriend didn't go well, but they ended up working it out later on. So, you know, exactly. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, because my thing is, you can always ask, well, how can I improve?
Right.
What should I do?
Right.
You know, you can have that conversation with him.
I mean, they could bond later, you know?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, we were 19 and 20.
Right.
Where it's not like we were like 35.
Right.
Stuff that's already done. But yeah, I think that was a turning point. And then I just remember over the phone, you know, you kind of know when things are gonna.
Yeah, it's shifted.
Good.
Yeah. Was he more distant?
I wouldn't say necessarily more distant, but you kind of get this feeling. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And so he was going through his discovering himself, trying to figure out what he likes, what he doesn't like. Okay. As far as people.
Right.
Then we had already, because I think we were doing okay for the situation. I think for me, it just hurt me because I kind of felt, because I had dealt with it's not technically cheating because we weren't together, but he was talking to another girl as well. And it kind of brought those feelings back up. And I think for me, because I'm someone who cannot even imagine engaging with another person.
So wait a minute. When did the other girl come into play?
She didn't come into play. I think it's like when so we were working past that. But it's still something that you just think about. Right. Because for me, I recognized one thing I will say that came out of that situation, that he's an honest guy. Okay. Because he could have easily just cheated. Right. Easily. Okay. But you know, he gave me the respect of saying, hey, this is a potential thing that I think may work, if that's what he was feeling. Gotcha. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So whereas the first time it was like I had to find out. Oh, I found out on Valentine's Day that I wasn't his Valentine. So I was like, oh, okay.
Wow. Oh, you said to the garbage. Oh my god.
Or I found out like right before Valentine's Day. Something
oh my god.
From another homie. But you know, it was a whole lot of scheming, you know.
Right. Oh my goodness.
But I never had to do that with him. I never had to worry about his whereabouts. Never had to worry about what's he doing, where is he going, because I'm not going to do that. In a relationship.
You shouldn't have to.
If I have to do that, that means I need to be your mom. And and I'm not here for that. Right. But I think for me, it was just like that. Not saying the dad thing was one thing, but in the back of my head, it's like, you know how you're still trying to go through, you're still trying to let go. Right. But it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go. Happened. Mm-hmm. Plus, like we've said, this is my first relationship. Right. Yeah. And then also I'm a product of infidelity relationship. My parents were in a relationship where both of them really were being unfaithful. And really? They got a divorce, and it's not good. I know it took me a long time to get okay. So I don't want that. Ever. So
you're saying you found out that you were a product of infidelity?
Oh, I've known for years.
Oh, you've known for years.
But it's just, I was like so young, it's like you can't say anything. Right. It's like, you're going to be like, why are you in grown folks' business? Right. Can't be in grown folks' business. Interesting. So they divorced from who they were with and they got together. No. My parents were married. And they had their infidelities within their own marriage. So when they got their divorce, especially, I know what it's like. I know how it feels. I know I don't want to bring that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
For my children.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So even if it's just the beginning, because I don't date for fun. I date for potential lifelong partnerships.
Right.
So I don't want that in my life.
Of course.
So for me, I think I was still hurt. And I'll never forget, we were in the car. And this is my BET moment, you guys. I was like, he was like, I keep saying sorry, I'm sorry. I was like, you hurt me.
So what was he apologizing for exactly in that moment?
I think just a bit of everything.
Oh, okay.
Just where things were going. Like, because I know I kind of started to peel back a little bit. I know I kind of got distant. But as far as the breakup was concerned, it was like Denzel's on the phone, I'm on the phone. He's like, hey, so, I'm not good at breakups. And I was just like...
You hung up on him?
Yeah, I cried.
Oh, my God.
I was like, okay, goodbye. And then I didn't talk to him for a few days.
Wow.
And I'll never forget Lucas. I came to class, and I was going to class, and I saw Lucas. And Lucas was like, Jaszmine, what's going on? And I was like, oh, he thought it was good just to break up with me.
Oh, my God.
Because he was looking for me. Denzel was looking for me.
Oh, okay.
And that's how Lucas knew there was some type of
thing going on. Yeah, because you were, after you hung up the phone, you didn't answer none of his.
Yeah, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't talking. I didn't pick him up for school.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like, F up your whole world. Now you gotta take the martyr. But no,
right.
But not like in a negative way.
No.
I'm not about to sit here and you do this and then I come do the same routine stuff every day.
Of course not. I mean, it would be kind of psychotic.
So, but we ended up having our discussion, and he was just like, I need to. He was like, I don't know if I'm bisexual or not. I don't know this, and that. He didn't know how he felt for himself. So I was just like, well, this is when we're having our civil conversation, okay?
Right.
At my house, because I was like, I'm not about to sit here and do this whole. Last time we had a talk at your house, shit was about to go down. We're gonna have it in my house.
Now we're in Oprah, so we're more,
More so I never forget, we were at the in our formal dining room, or not the formal dining room, it was like our formal meeting room,
right?
And so he was just talking to me, and we were like, okay, so where are we going from here? Like, what's going on? Because it's obviously been crazy,
right?
So he lays all that down to me, and then I'll never forget. He was just like, "Well," he's like, "What do you want me to do?" He was just like, "If you want to stay together, we can stay together." But my thing is, I would never want to be with someone just because I asked them to.
The more I talk to Jaszmine, there's one thing that's becoming increasingly clear. She's growing into a phenomenal woman. We'll be right back after these messages. I knew I had to find a way to create this podcast. As all creators know, it can be a long process to bringing something that you love to life. You ask yourself the question, how can I fail? How can I fail when I must do this for my soul to exhale? Late nights, internal fights. It all seems like a small price to pay. If I can go to sleep satisfied at the end of the day. And that's why I'm committed to leaving it all on the table, to making this podcast a reflection of everything I am able to give. Because I want to see this dream live. Now you can be a part of making that vision a reality by making a small monthly donation to help sustain the future of this podcast. Apple Podcast listeners can click details at the bottom of each episode to find the Become a Supporter of this podcast link, or go directly to the support page at anchor.fm/thepoetgod/support. That's anchor.fm/thepoetgod/support. Thank you so much for empowering independent creators like me.
If you're listening, you cannot handle yourself and one other person. So, so good luck with 3.
Oh my God.
But no, I'm just kidding on that. But for real, I was just like, if it takes for you to be in that polyamorous relationship, if it takes for you to date a guy, if it takes for you to experience these different types of relationships that you feel like you may be in, or that you may feel, because feelings may change, okay?
Yeah.
I know a whole lot of now Christian girls that were lesbians back in high school. They kind of, they're all, now they're all, gays go to hell. I'm like, but you were gay in 10th grade, boo. You were dating my homie Olivia.
Oh my God.
But
right.
Obviously it's an extreme.
Right.
But sometimes people need to be in those relationships to see if they like that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's like, I heard somebody say it once, and it was, very eloquent, is that people should be allowed to find out who they are without having labels that were weaponized to, make them feel a certain way, And I think essentially, like, that's what you're saying. And I think the problem comes in is, and like you said, I think I can stand with you and say, yeah, he seemed like he was as honest as he knew how to be, and the whole situation. But sometimes the honesty, it doesn't prevent other people from being hurt, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, and I definitely feel that. I mean, my thing is, I'll always have love for Denzel. But it was just, when we had that talk, I was just like, this is what it is. And I think for me, I have a spiritual coach. So I talked to her a little bit about it, and she was saying, like, that was your lesson in learning to let go. Because I cling to stuff like babies. They always got their hands in a fist.
Right.
But for me, I was like, if this is what it takes for you, that's, I feel like, showing true love.
Right.
I could not love him knowing that the only reason he's here is because I needed him there.
Right.
Or anything like that.
Right. Right.
Because I need him to, I don't want to put him in a box.
Right.
I'm not saying I control his life, but
no, right.
It's like, imagine I put you in a box, and now it's like you have to just be this, and now you're miserable, and you don't even have the opportunity to see what you like. Because my thing is, at the end of the day, if he goes from being pansexual, bisexual, wearing punk clothes, and then he ends up being just a straight black guy that wears plaid at 60, then at least he's had the experience.
Right.
But for me, it was just like I had to learn to let go. And, I was just like, I just can't be a part of that.
Right.
Because I'm the only one. Mainly. But, my thing is, that's how people get caught in this whole, people being 20 years deep in marriage, and then out of nowhere it's like, I
actually like guys. I'm so sorry.
It's like, excuse me, ma'am, you didn't know?
Right. Yeah.
But I don't even think it's always the women that are, let's say, the women that are in those relationships, or the males. No, it's more less common.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of it's that a lot of women don't want to let go of, we have the kids, or we have the house, that kind of thing, because sometimes you have to tell the man,
right,
like, hey, you got to go do you.
Right. And it's also interesting that you make that point, that sometimes, it's more of a polarizing story. Oh, your husband is gay, but sometimes it's the wife that's gay. Oh yeah. And society seems to be more accepting of her. Oh yeah. Than him, and more apologetic for her than him. But I think whether it's, as he had said in his interview, the expectations of what the church puts on you, what the black community puts on you, what all of that comes from, just creates this dynamic where people growing into their truth feel like they can't tell the truth about that truth.
Exactly.
Because we want to hear every other truth except for that one.
And I think I think just people on a spiritual level. I mean, it's small things like questions like, "What if God is a woman?" Mm-hmm. Okay, that changes the whole game for some people.
Oh yeah.
But I know for me, the way that my household is, especially right now, as far as like me and like my mom, the relationship with my mom, it's like you can love God, you can be this person, you can be a say God-fearing woman or a God-fearing man, but you can go out there and you can go explore your life. Right. You can go do what you feel like you need. My mom told me.
Your family seems really evolved, by the way.
My mother is really evolved. My dad, he.
Not so much.
I think it's because he learned what he lost. Okay. He now wants me to be like, oh, you're a girl, so just keep it together. Me, I'm out there, okay? But my mom told me, I'll never forget, she was like, you know what, Jaszmine? Sometimes you just gotta go out there and just be a hoe. I was just like,
your mother told you that?
Yes, she did. And
oh my
with the
God.
dynamic of our house, it's like,
oh my God.
It's saying that, not saying you go out there and be wrecking homes. Right. But it's just like, live your life. I am 21 years old now. I'm single. And it's not necessarily being a hoe. It's just going out there. See what you like. Right. And you don't have to be a hoe for no bodies necessarily, but be a hoe for sports. Be a hoe for hobbies and new things. Right.
I love that.
If I hadn't been, let's say, had I stayed in that relationship, because I realized too in that relationship I was... Even myself, I kind of like detracted from doing the stuff that I used to do and things like that. Not in a bad way.
You were focused on yeah.
And so, but I realized I lost that focus for myself. I started sewing. I started my little business, and then something happened one day, and I was just like, "What's something so anti-Jaszmine? Like, what is that?" And I need to go do that. Pole dancing came into my world. And it is the best thing.
That's awesome.
In the world. I talk about pole, I could cry. Because it's just like the family I have there. I dance 411.
Wow.
It's just, I went in, I'll never forget, I had just got done with my endoscopy, so I was still high. But I felt so like body conscious, because I'm a juicy woman, okay? I'm juicy. For the audience. I'm a little juicy little thing.
Oh my God, I can't with you. I can't.
I'm tall and I'm round. So, but for real. So you have this idea of
what that looks like, and yeah.
And I came in, and they were like, "You have to pick a pole name." So you have an alter ego.
Interesting.
My name is Olivia. Exclamation point Livia. Because. If y'all don't know me, Akil knows me. But either it can be or because I'm clumsy. Right. And so, but I went from being so body conscious, like, oh no, let me wear like long sleeve shirt, pants and stuff like that. Let me cover myself, and you can't tell me not to put on no shirt, okay? Right. I hate clothes.
Interesting. So what did that do for your self-image and your self-esteem and your sense of who Jaszmine is and wasn't?
Oh, I think really like it enhanced everything that I could be. Oh my. If that makes any sense. Yeah. We do the pole show. So for me and my pole sisters is, the people that you go to class with, because we start off as babies basically, right? So you go from just looking at a pole basically to now you're on the pole, now you're upside down, now now you're spinning. So, wow, that's awesome. Things like that. But so you go in, and it seems to be a lot of the same stories too, from like my pole sisters and I, where you come in, you're feeling kind of body conscious, you're kind of shy, that kind of thing, and pole just brings out this this like, oh my gosh, I am the shit. I am she.
Right.
Or he, because there are men.
Oh, really?
Yes, there are men who pole dance. And people always assume it's just like, oh, they just go out there and make money. First of all, it is a sport, baby. Okay? If you want a core of a lifetime,
oh my God,
some good arms, it's really a workout, but it makes you feel so good. You're wearing high heels, just stomping all over the place like you own it. And I think, even if it's for an hour a week or 2 hours a week, it really just for me brings out like, hold on, I am the bomb. And you have a community of people around you saying that you are the bomb.
And that is exactly what I was just about to say. It just, reminds me again about the importance of community. How important it is to have that around you and have people supporting you on your journey and say, I'm on the same journey too, and we're all gonna figure this out together and help build each other up together.
And, my thing is, your self-esteem can be from anything. If you're not comfortable, I obviously promote pole for anybody. You can be skinny, you can be bigger, you can be anything. You could do anything. And I just feel like pole for me, because y'all know, Akil, I don't wear heels.
Right.
You will never see me. I think people see me in heels and they get shocked. They're like, what is she doing? Oh, she must have a presentation because she ain't doing this on a regular day.
Right.
But,
so, from Denzel to the pole.
Basically.
Does he like men? That's the question Denzel's mom asked Jaszmine. How did she answer? Find out after these messages.
Lips perfumed.
I am so excited to be a part of the wonderful world of podcasts, and to celebrate, I'm giving away a copy of my book, Lies I Never Quite Believed, which averages 5 stars on Amazon and iBooks. Now, a drawing will be held after each episode of Season 1. All you have to do to enter is subscribe, rate, and review this podcast on whatever platform you happen to be listening on. And then send me a screenshot at poetgodmail@gmail.com. That's poetgodmail@gmail.com. This giveaway is only eligible for listeners living in the United States of America. As we continue with our interview, Jaszmine tells us what her relationship with Denzel taught her.
It taught me a lot.
It taught you a lot.
It made me definitely more. Denzel and I have a great relationship still, I think, in my opinion. I think I feel like I've grown for sure. I mean,
I can tell.
Basically, Denzel's pole to my own.
Oh my God.
Oh, by the way, Denzel was like everything, okay? People be talking about, oh, this was my first everything. That's me.
I'm sure his ego was doing cartwheels right now. But that's pretty awesome.
It was good. I learned a lot from the relationship. I definitely have a better understanding of what people go through as far as like the real stress of like coming out. Because for me, in my straight brain, I'm just like, imagine, stereotypically, how the black community talk about white kids.
Right.
White kids will shut up, mom, and slam the door. Like,
right.
We don't do that.
Right.
But, for me, let's say in a straight mind, it's like, just tell your mom how you feel. Just tell your dad how you feel. But it really...
Did you ever tell him to talk to his parents? Because then earlier you talked about that and you felt that he should just do it?
Yes, I feel like I know his mother knows.
You know she knows?
Oh, I know she knows.
How's that?
Because I'll never forget when we had freshly split, and I was being petty, and I brought this like 2-inch by like 1-inch box of his items. It was like a Nintendo DS.
Oh, okay.
Really just petty stuff that I probably should have kept, honestly. But no, I was coming to bring him some stuff because that was a cleansing thing for me.
Gotcha.
I had to like delete him off of social media and all that. I was cleansing my bubble.
Right.
For new things.
Right.
But I talked to her and she asked me. She was like, "Does he like men?" Like she asked in a way where she was nervous.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
See.
It's kind of like
it's a heavy question.
It's a heavy question, but knowing her the way that I know her, because she, believe it or not, she helped me a lot because Denzel is just like his dad in many, many ways. So when he was going through things, I would go to her and ask like, well, what should I do?
Right.
So for me, the way that she asked the question, like if she had came to me like, "Is Denzel okay?" I probably would have been like, "No, I swear." But you can kind of tell in her eyes that she knew.
Okay.
So for my healing, and I believe for her, I told her.
Okay.
I said,
you confirmed.
I confirmed it.
Yeah.
The way I was nervous. I'm like, ooh. Like in my head, I'm like, F him, but like this is serious.
Right.
And I just think it was because I knew she wasn't going to do anything to sabotage him.
Gotcha.
Because speaking to his father is very different than speaking to his mother.
Oh yeah.
So my thing is, she knows.
Okay.
She hasn't, as far as I know, she probably hasn't told
the father.
Which is understandable.
Of course.
Because he fears, obviously, the worst.
Yeah.
But my thing is, at the end of the day, they're going to have to accept it. And
of course.
I feel like my thing is, the worst thing that can happen, I mean, because my family, my mom still asks about him all the time. She'll be like, you can invite Denzel over. Denzel is, we're a year and a half past. Like,
right.
But, it's like, you still have support. And my thing is, whether it be you live with your auntie, you live with a friend.
Right.
Because, I've had a friend that his parents were pastors. He came out, he got kicked out and disowned. But he had...
So much for unconditional love, right?
I tell you. But because that takes them, parents, too. I don't think it's the right way to go about it. But parents also have a... some parents don't know how to react. Yeah. So they react in a volatile way. Right. So for him, he got kicked out and disowned, but because he had told someone else, he had someone to go to. Right. Okay. So I think, my thing is, I think no matter what, his mom would be there for him. Okay. Would stand up and be that person.
So does he know that you had that conversation with his mom?
I think I might have mentioned it.
Okay.
If not,
he knows now. Oh my god, that's hilarious.
I mean, because that's what it is. Okay. I think I had mentioned, I'm like, well, she kind of asked about it, and I kind of,
And what was his, you remember at all what he might have said?
Not really, because I don't think he was catching what I was throwing.
Oh, okay.
But,
gotcha.
But obviously, nothing crazy has happened. Because, like I said, we talk still.
Right, so, right.
It's still one of those, it hasn't happened yet. Right. I can only imagine the burning passion she wants to tell her husband. Right. But I feel like she would be there for him. And my thing is, I feel like no matter what you say, I feel like Papa knows. It's just the same way she had to process. Yeah. He had to process. Like, you could tell she didn't want the answer to be one thing. But she was prepared.
For what it was.
Because I think it just comes down to people's parents. I mean, if you imagine the gay, I say gay, but I mean LGBT. Right. The LGBT straight flip. If being straight was out of the norm, right, no one wants their kid to be hit, hurt,
right,
bashed,
of course,
whatever.
Of course.
So I understand that. So
of course,
that's why I think he needs to go ahead and release it, because if you release it now or you release it 10 years from now, the reaction is going to be the same.
Yeah.
Granted, you may have your own house in 10 years, but, you know, it's still just...
Right.
Okay, we already know there's people who are in these closets, okay?
Right.
There's some designer closets, but you don't know because they ain't open yet.
Right.
But I just know that there's a lot of people, because I know I dealt a lot with just like, geez, like I was like with a guy, he was bisexual, didn't know what he was like doing, and then he was throwing polyamory in my box, like, oh, you know, I only got 2 hands, I can't juggle.
Two beautiful souls met each other on the way to finding out who they are and what they want in this world. And although their chapter may have ended long before they may have wanted it to, I think all the rest will be informed because of the experiences their relationship brought them to. I'm Akil Johnson, the Poet God. Thank you for listening.